everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about more tips and tricks that will save you money. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about 10 tips that I use regularly to save money. I did a video a few weeks ago and you guys seemed to like it, so I wanted to make another one with a few more items, sharing with you how I save money on the regular and keep myself within budget. So the first one is I don't use a dryer when I dry my clothes. I line dry all of my clothes, which means that I'm not using extra energy to dry my clothes. I line dry them, so I just put them out, I wash them and then put them on the line and dry them that way. Yes, it does take a little bit longer and I don't get stuff instantaneously, but I have more than enough clothes that I need, so that's what I do so that I'm not spending extra money on our energy bill. The second tip is, and this one is one that I have come around to a lot, is buying secondhand when I can. So trying to find either in an op shop or Facebook Marketplace or something like that, good quality items that I can buy secondhand to save myself a little bit of money, especially if they're well taken care of by their previous owners and I can get them at a significantly reduced discount. So yesterday I went to one of the op shops that I like going to, and I found myself this Rayco, which is a name brand like pots and pans supplier, and I got this for $5.99. I then went on the internet and found that the same thing is actually almost 50 bucks. So this did need, and still probably does need, a little bit of TLC. The previous owner did have some oil splatter and some burn marks, which I can get out fairly easily with cream cleanser and washing it with hot soapy water, which is fine. I've already put it through the dishwasher once and that seems to do a great job. But you know, that's a huge saving when I can spend $6 instead of $50 to buy something, and it doesn't really matter. Like, what difference does it make if I got a pot secondhand or whether I bought it brand new? We then have taking advantage of pay on time discounts. So a lot of our energy suppliers here in Australia will give us pay on time discounts, so that if you pay before the due date, then you get a discounted price off your energy or utility bills, whereas if you paid it after that due date, you'd have to pay the full cost. So being able to take advantage of that, I have a video on, and I'll link it in the iCards above, on how I use a bills and utilities account to make sure that I'm always paying my bills on time and always being able to take advantage of these pay on time discounts so that I get to save money on my energy supply. The other things that I have started doing recently is unsubscribing from emails that tempt me to spend money. There is lots of advertising that comes through your inbox these days from different websites where they're promoting products or discount websites like Groupon or other different online discount stores, and I've just started unsubscribing because if I'm in need of something, I know to go to their website and have a look to see if they have it. But I think that sometimes getting things delivered to your inbox tempts you to go and spend money that you probably wouldn't have if you just hadn't seen it. Because a lot of time we think we need something when actually we don't. The next thing or the next tip that I have is try mending stuff or fixing stuff when it breaks instead of throwing it out and buying a new one. There are lots of things that I try and fix if they break before I go out and spend money on a new item. Things like socks or clothing that just have a little rip or a little tear or seams come undone. It's very easy just to get a small sewing kit. You can buy them fairly cheaply and go ahead and mend those items. Now, admittedly, I'm not the best sewer in the world, but I know enough to be able to fix those things. or calling in a repair person when something breaks, like an appliance, to see if they can actually go ahead and fix it before you go out and buy a new one, because sometimes it can be significantly cheaper just to get the item fixed instead of having to turf it and buy new. The next thing that I want to talk about is unit pricing and comparing the unit pricing. So supermarkets and retailers these days have to put a unit price, so per litre, per 100 grams, per kilo, on the sticker price. So you're able to compare easily the cost per unit, or a similar or the same measurement across different products or different sizing of the same product. And I always make sure to check this, because sometimes the bigger item is not always cheaper than the smaller item when you look at the unit cost. And also when things are on sale, sometimes buying the smaller items or multiple of the smaller items on sale is less expensive than buying the larger item. One of the things that I've had a look at recently is my dishwashing detergent. Now it's by no means the cheapest. I always buy it on sale, but it's my favorite one and I don't want to change from that. But I've found that even when the smaller 1 litre bottle is still more expensive than the larger one on sale. So I never bother buying the smaller ones, because I know that as soon as the big one comes on sale, then that's the cheapest that I can get it. Now, I haven't seen the 1 litre one discounted more than 50%, and if it does get discounted to more than 50%, then I'll definitely be buying that. But at the moment, the 2 litre on sale is always going to be cheaper than the 1 litre. This is going to tie into one of my pet peeves anyway, but leaving your appliances on standby. So I hate leaving appliances on standby, and they also continue to use electricity when they are on standby. So I always make sure, as much as I can, like other than things like my fridge, to turn things off at the switch as opposed to like at the power, instead of leaving them on standby, because I've found that leaving things on standby does actually cost you more on your electricity bill than turning them off at the switch. So I always try and turn things off at the switch unless it's something that I really can't. Alright, my next tip is to buy generic when you can over the name brand product. So whether it be cleaning supplies, food, or medicine, which is something that I do often. Whenever I'm prescribed medicine or whenever I buy these painkillers off the shelf, I always check to see if there's a generic product available that is cheaper than the name brand. So I always buy the supermarket version of ibuprofen or paracetamol, which are the name brands of Panadol and Nurofen, but I will always buy the name brand, because the ibuprofen, which is the active ingredient in Nurofen, is $1.95 a pack. It's somewhere between $1.50 and $1.95 for a packet of 24, and the paracetamol is even cheaper. You can pick this up for like 75 cents. So they are significantly cheaper than the $5 to $10 you would pay for the name brands. If you were going to choose the name brands, the active ingredient is exactly the same. So that's why I go for the generic over the name brand, because it's so much cheaper. The other thing is that if I'm prescribed medicine by a doctor, when I get to the pharmacy, I ask the pharmacist, can I have, or is there a generic available that has the same active ingredient that is going to give me the same benefit as the name brand but is at a cheaper cost. And most of the time they will say, yes, here's the generic version. If you're being prescribed medicine, obviously talk to your doctor or talk to the pharmacist about choosing the generic over the name brand, because there might be a difference. But most of the time I've found that if I've asked for the generic option, then there has been one available for me to purchase at a cheaper cost than buying the one that was actually written down, just because it has a name associated with it. So that's a tip that I have when you're visiting the pharmacy or visiting the doctors, see if you can buy generic over name brand, because that often saves you a lot of money. My next tip is, and my next and final tip is, shop at clearance stores and overstock suppliers. I've found so many discounts shopping at overstock warehouses and clearance stores, and you get things so much cheaper than what you would get them if you just went to a supermarket. For example, I bought these at an overstock. I got 3 for $1. I went to my local supermarket and they were $3.50 for a pack. So yes, the use by date on these is a little closer than what the supermarket was, but we're gonna eat these pretty quickly anyway, so does it really matter? No. So I always check out what I can find at my clearance warehouse or overstock supplier before I go to the supermarket. And as you know, I always stock up on things and then meal plan around what I've gotten on sale, so it makes things really easy. I just stock up on things that I know we're gonna eat, I know that we like, I know that we're gonna use, and then meal plan around that.